Good afternoon. We were talking about the 8086 architectural diagram. There, in our earlier discussions, we have had an enough discussion regarding memory interface, which is going to bring data to and from the contents. Then we talked about the microprocessor architecture diagram, bus interface unit. And in this bus interface unit, it is going to have segment registers. So these segment registers, we told it is extra segment, code segment, stack segment, data segment. And in order to find the effective address, we are going to use the instruction pointer. Then we talked about the 3 instruction queue. So in 8086, instruction is going to occupy 16 bits. So now first part of an instruction, second part of an instruction, and third part of the instruction. So 3 instructions will happen. So we call it as pipelining. Then we have the execution unit. In this execution unit, we discussed about accumulator, base register, code register, data register. We called it as AX, BX, CX, and DX. And AX is of 16 bit, and this 16 bit, it is made up of high order bits of accumulator and low order bits of accumulator. So both will be 8 bit and 8 bit. Then we came across stack pointer, base pointer, source index and destination index. So source index and destination index we were telling to do with the string operations. Then we have the control system, which we called it as the control unit, which initiates the arithmetic logic unit to do what type of operations it needs. So it has A bus and C bus, which it is going to carry out the instructions, etc. Then we have the arithmetic logic unit. So it has 2 inputs, A, B, and it is going to generate the output as a C. Now we have A is equals to 10 and B is equals to 15. Then C, the arithmetic logic unit will say that A is equals to some A plus B. So obviously C is equals to 25. Now this 25 is going to be called as an operand, or we are going to say here as the final answer. Fine. Now when I'm going to call it as 25H, H stands for hexadecimal number system. So it is 0010. 5 it is represented as 0101. Now you need to describe the operands. We need to describe the operands. So how I can describe that operand means it is going to be done with the concept of flags and flag register. It is going to be done with the concepts of flags and flag register. So we are dealing with flags. When we are going to deal with flags, we should understand the format of flag register. We should understand the format of flag register. So when we are telling about format of flag register, first of all, it is going to be of 16 bit. The very first thing, take away, it is going to be of 16 bit. And this 16-bit, we are going to tell it is having two sets of flags. One we call it as conditional flags. Two we are going to call it as control flags. One we are going to call it as conditional flags. Two we are going to call it as control flags. And there are 6 conditional flags and 3 control flags. So the remaining positions are unused. So how many are unused means we are going to say 6 are unused. So 6 plus 3 plus 6, we are going to have this 15-bit. Now coming to the first part, conditional flags. So these conditional flags they are going to be called as ZF, SF, PF, AF, now let us see what is ZF. ZF we are going to call it as zero flag. So what this zero flag is going to indicate means it is going to be in high state. High state we are going to call it as set state when the operand is 0. So what is this operand means? I was mentioning we have A, we have B. Both of them, they have given an input to the arithmetic logic unit, and arithmetic logic unit is giving the answer as C, which we are going to call it as operand. Below that, we are going to describe the flag register. Below that, we are going to describe the flag register. So now, assume I am going to say A is minus 10 and B is plus 10. So then I made C is equals to some A plus B and implies answer is 0. So if answer is 0, that means answer of the operand is 0. At that case, the 0 flag is going to set high. If the answer is 0, 0 flag is high. Otherwise, it is low. Otherwise, it is going to be in a low state. So you added 2 values. If the values resultant was 0, then 0 flag will indicate it as 1. So why we are doing this? Because empty register is there and all the values are zeros. So CPU may not distinguish it, but based on that, we are going to, based on the 0 flag, we are going to put up this conditional flag. So conditional flag we mentioned, the very first one, we are going to call it as 0 flag. Okay. Now let us understand the second flag. Let us understand the second flag. Second flag, we are going to call it as SF. SF is going to call as sign flag. SF, we are going to call it as sign flag. So, sign flag, it is going to indicate the answer is positive or negative number. It says the most significant value positions, and it is going to determine the generated opcode is going to be a positive number or it is going to be a negative number. So that amplification is going to be given by the sign flag. For example, I have 1011, 1101. This was the data. Now, the most significant bit what we are going to provoke, if this value is 1, we indicate it as a negative number, and the most significant bit, if it is 0, if it is going to be 0, then we are going to indicate it as a positive number. So when we do sign addition, when we do sign subtraction, at that point of time, we are going to have the sign flag. At that point of time, we are going to work with the sign flag. So up to now, we discussed 2 elements. The very first element, we are going to call it as 0 flag. So 0 flag, it is going to tell the answer that everything is 0. If it is in such case, then 0 flag is set to 1. If sign flag is there, it is going to give up the most significant bits, and if the most significant bit is going to be determined as high, it is going to indicate a negative number. If the most significant bit is going to indicate it as a 0, then it is going to indicate it as a positive number. Third thing, we are going to call it as parity flag. The third type of flag we are going to assume will be the parity flag. Now, when we discuss about parity flag, there are 2 types of parities. One we are going to call it as even parity. Another we are going to call it as odd parity. Even parity, it makes even number of ones, and odd parity makes odd number of ones. So let us say the opcode was 1101, 1011. Now, I can here mention the concept of even parity. Now, I can here mention the concept of even parity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total number of ones in the operand are 6. Therefore, even parity PF is equals to 0. Therefore, even parity PF is equals to 0. Now let us illustrate the same example again. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 ones are there. Therefore, to make the opcode as odd number of ones, we add odd parity. At that time, odd parity is equals to 1. That is, parity flag is going to set it as 1. So this is a clear-cut understanding. Opcode is there, and CPU will tell whether to follow the even parity model or whether to follow the odd parity model. Whether to follow the even parity model or whether to follow the odd parity model. If such is the case, then in order to make even number of ones, to add a 1 or to delete a 1. Already there are 6 ones here. If I add one more 1, 7 is an odd number which will not be appreciated for the even parity. Therefore, PF is equals to 0. PF stands for parity flag. Now, there are 6 ones which is satisfying even parity. Now I want to convert it to a odd parity. So I have to say there is one more 1. How can I do it? Means I am going to use a parity flag and it shows with 1. In this way, we are talking about the 3 things. 1, the 0 flag. 2, the sign flag. 3, the parity flag. Now, let us have a discussion on the remaining flag instructions. So, the remaining flag instructions we need to talk will be the CF. CF stands for carry flag. CF is going to stand for carry flag. If the operand has carry, then carry flag is equals to 1. Otherwise, carry flag is equals to 0. When is a carry flag high? When is a carry flag low? Now let us say I am doing an addition of 1101 with 0001. I have 8, 4, 2, 1. So 8 plus 4, 12 plus 1, 13. To this 13, I am going to add 1. Therefore, total is going to become 14. Now 1 plus 1 is 0. I have a carry. 0 plus 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1. Now I can say 0 is here at this point of time. Now carry flag is equals to 0. There is no carry. Now I am going to say 1101 and then I am going to add 7 here. So 13 and 7. So I should get 20, and which it is going to lead up with the carry. So 1 plus 1 is 0, carry 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry 1. So obviously 1, 1, 1. So 1 plus 1 is 0 and you have this 1. So carry flag is equals to 1. Carry flag is equals to 1. So 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square, 2 cube, 2 power 4. So 2 power 4 is 16. 2 square plus 4 is equals to 20. So this 20 and 20. Now where is this bit saved? This bit, it is going to be saved in the carry flag. So we have an operands here. This is operand A and operand B. Then you performed addition between A and B. Then you generated the C, which we are going to call it as an output. So A and B, we are going to call it as input C. So I have an arithmetic logic unit. I'm going to give A, I'm going to give B. Then I'm going to generate C here. So A was 13, B was 17. C is equals to A plus B. Therefore, we are going to get 20 here. Now, how I'm going to record this 20 means I'm going to use this carry flag. When carry flag is 0, we say there is no carry. When carry flag is equals to 1, carry is applicable. This is all regarding the carry flag. Next one. The next flag was overflow flag. The next flag was overflow flag. If the answer, that is the opcode, exceeds the register size, then it is overflow. Then it is overflow. Register size is equals to 16 bit. Register size is equals to 16 bit. Then again the answer is 16 bit. It is no overflow. Register A, register B and register C. Now register A was 16 bit. Register B was 16 bit. Now you have performed an addition operation. Then you are going to give it a C. So obviously at this point of time, carry or overflow here occurs, then overflow flag is equals to 1. Else overflow flag is equals to 0. More than 16 bit. I taken a value of 16 bit. I have taken a value of 16 bit in B. I performed the answer and I got the answer also 16 bit. It's beyond the register limit. Everything is falling in my register itself. In that case, we call it as no overflow. Now, assume that I have a 16-bit data, and if I added those two items, if it is exceeding more than 16-bit register, then we are going to say overflow flag is high. Fine. Then does a overflow will come. So now let us take small example. I am adding 0001 and then I am adding 0010. Similarly, I am adding here all zeros and I am adding 1. So I do have an addition here. So it will be 0001 and 0011. Is there any carry here? No. Is there any overflow here? No. So at this case, answer is less than 16 bit. Now let us take the second case. The second case was I have a value of 1111 and then I am going to add it with the 0111, 0111. So obviously we have a carry at this point of time. And even the size was greater than 16 bit. Why the size was greater than 16 bit? The reason was in the earlier condition we are doing a basic operations adding 1 and 2 and 3 like that. But when we go for advanced operations and if we are going to take f value and add it with 7. So f value was 15. Triple one value was 77. So which are going to have an exceeded versions of the previous data. At that time, we are going to have and work with the overflow flag. So if there is no overflow at this point of time, overflow was 0. Similarly, I am adding complicated numbers like 15 and 15, f and f, 7 and 7. So there is a chance for the overflow. Therefore, we can say a overflow flag is going to be erased. The sixth conditional flag was, we are going to call it as ACF. We are going to call it as ACF. ACF, we call it as auxiliary carry flag. So this auxiliary carry flag is going to be active if we perform binary coded decimal operations. Auxiliary carry flag is going to be sustained, is going to occur only when we are going to work with binary coded decimal numbers. Then I am going to call it as hexadecimal. Hexadecimal, we are going to say it is 0 to 9. Then we have A, B, C, D, E and F, and each bit is 4 bits of size. Then I am going to call it as BCD, that is nothing but binary coded decimal number. Yeah, each digit is 4-bit common, and the second case was the minimum value was 0 and the maximum value was 9. Only this is the architectural difference you should understand between binary coded decimal numbers and the hexadecimal number systems. In binary coded decimal number, the minimum value was 0 and the maximum value was 9. Second thing, every digit, it is going to be represented in 4 bits. With these two information, now we have to discuss about binary coded decimal numbers. If there is a carry after addition or subtraction over BCD numbers, then if if there is a carry after addition or subtraction over BCD numbers, then we say BCD is equals to 1. If there is no carry, then we are going to say the binary coded decimal number value was 0. Then we are going to say the binary coded decimal number value was 0. When we are working with binary coded decimal numbers, we have correction factor. We have a word called as correction factor. And this correction factor was implemented with or subtracting 6 from the opcode by adding 6 to the opcode at each digit, or deleting opcode when it is a negative number. So this is all theoretical. Now let us look the BCD orientation if I am going to work with example. So let us take a smaller example. I am going to say AX is equals to 10 and BX is equals to 20. Then I am going to say add AX comma BX. Add AX comma BX. So what we are going to check at this point was 0001, 0010, 10 and 0, 10 and 20. We represented 10 and 20. Now I am going to perform BCD addition. So at this case, both of them, they are less than the BCD representation. Now BCD was 0. Now let us take another example. I have 53, then I have 92, then I need to add a addition. If such is the case, I will write 1001 as 9, 2 as 0010, 9, 2. Then I am going to write 5 here, and then I write my 3 here.
Sir, 5 means 0101, no sir.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. 9 I am going to write 1001. 2 I am going to write 0010. This one I am writing it as F, not 5. 1111, 001. So I am going to make a addition here. Again I am going to make an addition here. So this is the case. The value here was 92 and the value was F2. I think this is F2. Okay, this won't be in the hexadecimal. Let me take one more example to show you the things. 96 and 96. So when we are going to do with this 1001, 1001, 1001 and 0110. If this is the model here, now all are going to be F's. All are going to be F's. But the definition of the binary coded decimal number system was, the definition of a binary coded decimal number system was, minimum value was 1, maximum value was 6. Minimum value was 1, maximum value was 6. So I am going to add plus 6 as a correction factor. Plus 6 as a correction factor here. So obviously, when we are going to add plus 6, implies auxiliary carry flag is equals to 1. Implies auxiliary carry flag is equals to 1. No need to add plus 6, implies auxiliary carry flag is equals to 0. If we are not going to add plus 6, then we are going to say auxiliary carry flag is equals to 0. So now let us check these conditions here. So 6 plus 6, 12. 192 is the answer what we are going to expect. But what was the answer? F and F. Answer was F and F. But we are working on binary coded decimal number systems. But it gave an answer for the hexadecimal number system, which is inappropriate. Now what the operand should do, what the CPU should do, it is going to use a correction factor. It is going to use a correction factor and it is going to add plus 6 there. Adding plus 6, how is it doing? It is going to be done with the auxiliary carry flag. It is going to be done with the auxiliary carry flag. So auxiliary carry flag, when it is set high, then we are going to assume there is no carry. So 1 plus 1 is 0, 1 plus 1 is 0, 1 and 1 plus 1 is 1, 1. 1 plus 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is with a 1, 1, 1, we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, we have 1, 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 0, carry 1. Now 1. Then these two values are there, 0, 1 and 0, 1 here. So we are going to get this value 0, 1, 0, 1, 4. Then we have this as 6, 164. Something went wrong again here. So 1, 1, 1, 1, we are going to add this plus 6 here. So 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. So we do have like a correction factor. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 0. Then 1 plus 1, 1, 1. Again it is here. So 1 plus 1 is 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. Again 1, 1. So this is the model what we are going to get. Still, is there any errors? 0 plus this 0 here, 1, 1. Yeah, still it is not yet normalized. Still it is not yet normalized. So again, it will add a 6 factor here. But this value, it is less than, it is between 0 to 9. Therefore, we are not going to add plus 6 here. We don't add at this position, but this is going to have more value than 0 to 9. So we are going to add plus 6. So we will get the same values. So 1 plus 1 is 0, 1, then. So in this way, we will normalize the values so that the digit should be in a position that it should be between 0 and 1. So who is the mechanism, or what is the mechanism it is looking at means it is going to be taken care by the auxiliary carry flag. Then we have 3 more flags which need to be taken up. 3 more flags. So these three more flags, we are going to call it as one. We call it as control flags. So these control flags, they are of 3. One, we are going to call it as trap flag. 2, we are going to call it as direction flag. 3, we are going to call it as interrupt flag. 1, we are going to call it as trap flag. 2, we are going to call it as direction flag. 3, we are going to call it as interrupt flag. So in an interrupt flag, it is going to deal with hardware interrupt. Interrupt flag is equals to high. Trap flag, we are going to call TF is equals to 0 if software error, this is hardware interrupt, another was software interrupt occurs. If a software interrupt is going to occur, then we are going to say a trap flag was moved off. The last flag was direction flag. This direction flag, it can be high, or the direction flag can be low. I was mentioning source index to destination index. Another was destination index to source index. If the bits are moved from source index to destination index, we call it as direction flag is equals to 1. If the bits are moved from destination index to source index, then direction flag is equals to 0. So in conditional flags, we were putting 3 terms. If there is a hardware interrupt, then interrupt flag is set high. If there is a software interrupt, then trap flag is going to set high. That is the distinction. If there is an error from keyboard, mouse, hard disk, etc., those we are going to call it as an hardware interrupts. All of a sudden, internet is gone. All of a sudden, power failure happened. Such type of interrupts, we call them as hardware interrupts. There, the interrupt flag is going to set high. If there were problems with the trap flags, that is syntax errors are there, semantic errors are there, the language specific errors are going to rise. So in the program code there are some bugs. At that point of time, trap flag is going to be high. At that point of time, trap flag is going to be high. So trap flag, we are going to call it as high priority interrupt. We are going to call it as high priority interrupts. The next thing was regarding the direction flag. So bits can move from one location to another location. If bits are moving from left side to right side, then direction flag is 0. If bits are moving from right hand side to left hand side, then direction flag is equals to 1. So I was telling bits are moving from one end to another end. How to give names to the one end to other end means it can be with source index and it can be with destination index. It can be with the source index and it can be with the destination index. So in today's lecture, what we have discussed was, we discussed about particularly things like conditional flags and control flags. In control flags, we specified trap flag, interrupt flag, direction flag. In conditional flags, we discussed about auxiliary carry flag, sign flag, parity flag, zero flag. So anything we missed? Auxiliary carry flag, sign flag, parity flag and zero flag. So when we are dealing with this auxiliary carry flag, it is working with binary coded decimal numbers. If there is a carry, then we are going to specify it with a carry flag. If there is a positive number or negative number, we are going to specify it with a sign flag. To mention it as an even parity or an odd parity, we will mention it with a parity flag. And if it is answer was 0, zero flag was set to high. And we add with two 16-bit numbers, and if it needs one more register to store the remaining content at that point of time, then we are going to say it is overflow flag. Especially when we work with the signed numbers, overflow flag will be erased. So this is the overview of today's class, and in today's class we have taken up an entire concept regarding the flag register. So this is all for today. We have 95 students turned as of now, and yeah, B section students, you have lab right now, and you can